Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be doing systems of equations by substitution. We're going to talk about substitution today, and next week we're going to talk about a new topic called elimination. But today we're going to be doing systems of equations. So I'm going to write system of equations. Okay, so a system of equations is two or more equations. So typically what you're going to see is ax plus by is equal to c. That would be your first equation. And then you might see another equation that's more like dx plus ey is equal to f. So notice I got two different equations. X and y are always going to be variables, but A, B, C, D, E, and F, those capital letters, they're always going to be numbers. And today we're going to be learning substitution. If you've taken Algebra 1 before, you've probably heard of it, or at least you probably remember how to do it. So there's substitution. You didn't want. There is another way you can solve them called elimination. Elimination. So those are the two basic ways you can solve a system: substitution and elimination. And then there are two other ways. One way is by graphing. You'll probably see that today. But those are the three basic types. And I'm going to underline system of equations. Okay, so what we're going to be doing after this is we're going to take a look at the classwork. It'll be under module 16, under Friday. It'll be the first classwork that you see. It's going to be called Substitution Day 1. We're going to do that first. And we're only going to do the even questions for these. So we'll do the Day 1 classwork, and then we'll do the Day 2 classwork. So 10 questions in total. Okay, so let's look at number 2 from the first classwork. All right, so number 2 says y equals negative 3x plus 4. That's going to be my first equation. And my second equation is going to be negative 8x minus 2y equals negative 12. So whenever I have a system of equations, I'm going to have two or more equations. This one down here is in standard form, and you can kind of tell because x and y are on the same side. So this bottom one is in standard form. X and y are going to be variables. And then the numbers out in front are going to be whole numbers. Now the equation at the top is in slope-intercept form. And we're going to use this to help us solve this bottom one. So the first thing I want you to do is underline the negative 3x plus 4. So I'm going to change my color to red, and I'm going to underline this right here, this negative 3x plus 4. Notice that I'm not underlining the y. I'm only underlining this one. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and plug it into y and the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this negative 3x plus 4 and then substitute it into y. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an arrow from here to the y at the bottom, like that. So we're going to keep everything about the second equation the same, but the y is going to get replaced by the negative 3x plus 4. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so we're only working with the bottom equation, not the top. So the bottom equation is negative 8x minus 2y. But instead of writing y, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a parentheses. And it's going to be set equal to negative 12, just like the bottom equation is. And inside the parentheses, I'm going to put the negative 3x plus 4. So what I did here is I kept everything about the bottom equation the same, except for this y right here. We're replacing the y with negative 3x plus 4 in red. And the reason why I can do this is because y is equal to negative 3x plus 4. Okay, so now underline the negative 2 at the bottom, like this. I'll do it in yellow. And what I'm going to do with the negative 2 right here is I'm going to multiply it by everything on the inside. So I'm going to multiply it by the negative 3x, and I'm going to multiply it by the positive 4 over here. And this is basically distributive property. I'm going to multiply everything in here by negative 2. So let's see what happens when we do that. Okay, so I have negative 8x. I'm going to bring that down. Negative 2 times negative 3x is going to give me positive 6x. And then negative 2 times positive 4 is going to give me a negative 8. But everything is still equal to negative 12. That doesn't change. So all I did here was I multiplied everything on the inside by a negative 2. Okay, so now do you see like terms? We can add these first two terms, right? I'm going to underline them, the negative 8x and the 6x. We can combine those because they're like terms. They both end with an x. So negative 8x plus 6x is going to give me negative 2x. But everything else stays the same. So the negative 8 is going to come down from right here to right here. And then the negative 12 is going to stay the same here. The only thing that's changed is I added up the x terms. So now we have an equation that we can solve for x, right? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 8, and then I'm going to divide by negative 2. So let's do that on the right side. Since I'm running out of room over here. Okay, so I got negative 2x minus 8 is equal to negative 12. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 8. When I do that, the 8s are going to cancel out. So this negative 8 and the positive 8, they're gone. And I can bring down the negative 2x. Over here on this side, I have a negative 12 plus 8. That's going to give me negative 4. So now I have a one-step equation. The only thing I have left to do is divide by negative 2. That's it. So I'm going to make my fraction over here. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And once you get that, you should get a whole number for your answer. You should get positive 2. So the negative 2's are going to cancel out. I'm going to bring down the x variable. And then negative 4 divided by negative 2 is just a positive 2. And I'm going to put a box around that, like this. So now I know what x is. X is 2. But what is y going to be? I can find that very easily. All I need to do is substitute back into the top equation. Now, you can choose the top equation, or you can choose the bottom equation. It actually doesn't matter which one you choose. So usually I choose the easiest one, and I think the easiest one to plug back into is going to be the top equation. So we're going to use that. So let's figure out what y is. So the top equation was y equals negative 3x plus 4. I'm just going to go ahead and write that down. And what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to take this number that I found for x right here, and I'm going to plug it in for x right here. I'm going to take the answer that I just found for x, and I'm going to plug it into that equation. So here's how I do it. Y equals negative 3. Replace this x with a 2. And then you're going to add 4 at the end. Okay, so the first thing that I can do is I can multiply these two numbers together. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, right? But I still have to add 4 at the end. And when I do that, I get negative 6 plus 4. That's going to give me negative 2. And I'm going to put a box around that final answer, like this. Negative 2. So now we know what y is. And once you got x and you got y, you can write your answer as an ordered pair. So I'm going to switch to blue. And I'm going to write my ordered pair down here. I'm going to put the x value first, and then I'm going to put the y value second, like I usually do. And that's how you do one of these problems. So at the very end, you should have an x value and a y value. If you don't have both of those, then you need to go back and figure out what you did wrong. But once you got your x value and your y value, you can write it as an ordered pair. Always put x first and y second. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to check our answer. What we can do is we can graph these two equations in Desmos, and we'll see where the two lines cross is going to be the answer. Okay, I'm going to come back to this, but just give me a minute to do this. I'm going to go to Desmos, and I'm going to type in the top equation first. The top equation was y equals negative 3x plus 4. And when I type that in, I get that black line that goes across my screen like that. So every equation that they give me, I'm going to get a line. So now let's type in the bottom equation. The bottom one that they gave me was negative 8x minus 2y is equal to negative 12. And that's going to be that red line that you see. So whenever you type in two equations, you're going to get two lines. And wherever these two lines cross, that's going to be your answer. So where do these two lines cross? They're going to cross right here. And I'm going to click on that point where they cross. And then the ordered pair is 2, negative 2. That's exactly the answer that we just got, right? 2, negative 2. Yep. So that's one way you can check your answer. The other way you can check your answer is by plugging these two numbers back in. But that's a little bit more difficult. Okay, let's try number 4. So number 4 gives me two equations, just like the last one. 3x minus 2y is equal to negative 9. And then the bottom equation that they give me is y equals 3x plus 15. So just like last time, I'm given two different equations. The top one is in standard form, but the bottom one is in slope-intercept form because you got y by itself. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to underline the 3x plus 15. So go ahead and underline the 3x plus 15. I'm going to do it in red. There we go. So now I've got 3x plus 15 underlined. And I'm going to draw an arrow from this to the y at the top. I'm going to draw an arrow to the y at the top. So it's going to look like this. So what this means is I've got to replace this y with 3x plus 15. So let's see how that's done. I'm going to keep everything about the top equation the same, except for the y. The y is going to change. And inside the parentheses right here, I'm going to plug in 3x plus 15. So I'm taking the top equation, keeping everything the same, except for the y. The y has changed into a 3x plus 15. And that's because of this right here, that bottom equation. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to underline the negative 2 and multiply it by everything on the inside. And you'll see what I mean by that. So I'm going to change to yellow, underline the negative 2, make sure you get that negative sign with it. And I'm going to multiply it by the 3x and the 15. distributive property again, right? So the first thing I do is I bring down the 3x, and then I take the -2 and I multiply it by the 3x on the inside, and I get -6x. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the -2 by the 15, and I get -30. And everything is still equal to -9, right? So that hasn't changed. Okay, do you see the like terms? 3x and -6x? We can put those together, but the regular numbers are going to have to wait. So 3x minus 6x, that's going to give me -3x. Minus 30 is equal to -9. Okay, so now we have a multi-step equation that we can solve for x. So go ahead and try solving this for x, and I'm going to do it on the right side of the screen. You would have to get rid of that -30 first. So let me go to the right side. So I'm going to add 30 to both sides. That's going to get rid of the 30s and leave me with a -3x. And then -9 plus 30 is 21. And then the last thing I need to do is divide by -3. So 21 is one of those numbers that can be divided by 3. And when you do that, this time you're going to get -7. And that's a whole number. Perfect. I'm going to put a box around it. So now, once you know what x is, you can solve the puzzle by plugging it back in, right? I'll do that at the bottom. Okay, so usually I plug it back into the easiest equation, and that's going to be the bottom equation. Y equals 3x plus 15. So I'm going to let x be -7 and see what happens. It should give me a whole number for my answer. 3 times -7 is -21. -21 plus 15 is -6. Perfect. I'm going to put a box around that. So once you got x and you got y, you can write your ordered pair. I'll do it in blue. It's going to be -7, -6. So you should get whole numbers for your answers for all of these. So if you get a fraction or something weird like that, you need to go back and see what you did wrong. But once you got the whole numbers, you're good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph these and see if I get the same answer. So I'm going to go over to Desmos, get rid of these two, and I'm going to type in the top equation. 3x minus 2y is equal to -9. That's going to give me that blue line that you see. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the bottom equation. Y equals 3x plus 15. That's going to give me the green line. So where do these two lines cross? Down here. At this gray point right here. -7, -6. And that matches up with this right here. So I'll leave this up there for a little while, but go ahead and try 6, 8, and 10. And you're going to do number 6 the exact same way that I did number 4 up here. And we're only doing the even ones, right? Okay. I'm going to help you get started with number 6. So the top equation is -3x plus 5y. Is equal to 16. Notice that this is in standard form because x and y are on the same side. And then the bottom is y equals 8x plus 18. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to underline the 8x plus 18 at the bottom. So I know that this is the same thing as y. So I'm going to plug this into y at the top equation right here. And you're going to put it in parentheses. So go ahead and try that. Okay. Have you done day 2?
Mm-hmm.
Have you done day 2?
Oh, you want to do day 2 also?
Yeah. The even ones only. Okay. So I'm going to plug this into y. I get -3x plus 5y. In the place of y, I'm going to put 8x plus 18. And then everything is equal to 16 at the end, right? So all I'm doing is I'm taking that top equation and I'm replacing y with an 8x plus 18. That's pretty much it. All right, so now I'm going to underline the 5. The 5 is going to be multiplied by the 8x and the 18 whatever's inside the parentheses gets multiplied by 5. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to bring down the negative 3x. And then 5 times 8x is 40x, right? So 40x. And then 5 times 18 is 90, I think. Yeah. Because 8 times 5 is 40. 5 times 1 is 5, but you got to add the 4 to get 9. Okay, so do you see the like terms? Which two terms end with an x? It's going to be the negative 3x and the 40x. So I'll underline those. (40 minus 3 is 37. And then after that, you're going to want to bring down the 90 and the 16, just like you see. Okay, so now I have a multi-step equation. And it's pretty easy from here to see how I'm going to get x by itself. The first thing I've got to do is I've got to get rid of the 90 somehow. And then I've got to get rid of the 37. So let's subtract 90 from both sides. When I do that, the 90s are going to cancel out. 90 minus 90 is 0. And then I get 37x is equal to a big negative number. So 74, negative 74. Yep, that works out nicely. Because what you'll notice is this negative 74 can be evenly divided by 37. So you're going to get that whole number that you want. Okay, so on the right side of the screen, I've got 37x equals negative 74. And I can divide both sides by 37. And you should get negative 2 when you get done with that. So that's x. Okay, so now I need to find y. Finding y is pretty easy. I just need to plug it back into one of these equations, doesn't matter which. So I'm going to use the bottom one. All right, so I know that x is negative 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace this x right here with negative 2. And put it in parentheses, whether it's positive or negative. So now I've got 8 times negative 2. That's negative 16. And if you add that to 18, you're only going to get positive 2. So that's going to be my answer. For y at least. And then my ordered pair is going to be -2, +2. So you're only done after you write your ordered pair, -2, +2. I'll get you guys started with number 8, and then I'll stop, and I'll let you finish it. Let's look at number 8. I've got y equals -2, and 4x minus 3y is equal to -14. So this time, the bottom equation is in standard form, but the top equation is in slope-intercept form. I'm going to put a box around the -2 because y is already solved for me this time. So half your answer is already there. And all I'm going to do from here is I'm going to plug it into the y on the bottom. So right here. So let's see what happens when we do that. I have 4x minus 3y. Y, of course, is -2. And it's equal to -14. And I'll let you finish it from here. Once you find out what x is, you're done. Because you already know what y is, -2, right? Now, I will give you a word of caution. -3 times -2 is going to give you a +6. So you got that double negative. And then when you get done with that, try number 10, and then get started on the day 2 classwork.